All right, let's get into it. All we hear about these days is the AI race. Smarter chatbots, unbelievable image tools, new models dropping what feels like every single week. On the surface, it all feels so clean, so digital, so much like progress. But behind those slick interfaces, there are these hidden layers of consequence that most of us never ever see. Today, we're going to peel back those layers.
For most of us, this is what AI is, right? It's a chatbot on your phone, a smart assistant in your kitchen, an image generator that can create literally anything you can dream up. It's an experience that just happens on a screen. It feels intangible, almost, well, it feels like magic.
But here's the thing about magic tricks. Every single one has a secret. And the secret behind AI isn't just ones and zeros. It's this massive, global system of physical stuff, hidden human work, and some pretty intense geopolitical fights. So what's really powering the spell?
So let's start with layer one, the machine itself. Because the digital world has a very real, very physical, and as we're about to find out, a very dirty footprint.
To make this real, let's take a look at a pretty famous example. This is Grok. You've probably heard of it. It's the controversial AI from Elon Musk's company, xAI, and it's designed to be one of the most powerful models out there.
And this is one of the places it lives, the Colossus II data center down in South Haven, Mississippi. Looks pretty boring, right? Just another modern industrial building. But the real story isn't the building.
No, the real story is how it's powered. And what some investigative journalists found when they started digging, well, it's pretty startling.
This is the big reveal. This is thermal drone footage captured by the newsroom floodlight. Those bright orange spots you see lighting up the night, those aren't lights. Those are gas turbines. We're talking basically jet engines, burning fossil fuels to power all that AI. And here's the kicker. They were operating without the required state permits, which is a direct violation of how the EPA interprets the Clean Air Act.
And don't just take my word for it. After reviewing all the evidence, Bruce Buckheit, who used to be the chief of air enforcement at the EPA, he didn't mince words. He said flat out, that is a violation of the law. You're supposed to get permission first.
And we're not talking about 1 or 2 turbines they just forgot about. The investigation documented 15 of the 27 turbines at this facility running without permits. The scale of this is significant.
Look, this isn't just some technical violation on a piece of paper. This stuff has a real human cost. These turbines are pumping out pollutants that are directly linked to horrible health problems, asthma, lung cancer, heart attacks. And get this, there are at least 10 schools within just a 2-mile radius of this plant. For people like Crystal Polk, who grew up right across the street, the impact was life-changing. She actually had to move out of her family home because of health concerns from the noise and pollution. Her words were, "We are a casualty of the whole data center race." Just wow. But that physical pollution, that's just layer one. Behind all that hardware, there's another totally unseen element. This massive hidden human workforce that actually makes the AI work. These are the ghosts in the machine.
Yeah, this is a real term. It's called ghost labor. It's this global army of people doing all the messy, tedious tasks that are absolutely essential for AI to function, but they're deliberately kept out of sight. Companies want to sell us this cool idea of pure automation, but the reality is that AI is constantly being propped up by people.
Researchers have kind of broken this work down into 3 main jobs. First, there's preparation. So imagine someone manually drawing a box around every single car in a million pictures, just to teach an AI what a car looks like. Then you've got verification. That's when a person checks an AI's work, like a translation, and fixes the mistakes. And finally, and this one is wild, there's impersonation. This is where, if a chatbot gets stuck, a human secretly jumps in and starts typing the replies to keep up the illusion that the AI is flawless.
So here's the crucial point. This work isn't just hidden, it is often deeply, deeply exploitative. In one of the most cited examples, OpenAI, the company that makes ChatGPT, they subcontracted workers in Kenya to basically look at the most toxic and violent content imaginable to filter it out of their system. And their pay? Less than $2 an hour.
Okay, so let's zoom out even further now. This whole race for AI supremacy, it isn't just happening between companies. It is completely reshaping global power dynamics, creating what a lot of people are now calling a new digital Cold War.
So what is the AI Cold War? It's this intense technological and geopolitical fight, mainly between the United States and China. But instead of a nuclear arms race, the competition is all about who has the best AI, the most advanced computer chips, and ultimately, who gets to control the future of the digital world.
What we're seeing is the creation of these 2 kind of parallel digital empires.
Over in the US, the AI scene is totally driven by private tech giants. You know who they are: Google, Microsoft, Amazon. But in China, it's a state-guided national strategy. They have an explicit goal to become the world's #1 AI innovation hub by 2030. Two totally different playbooks, both racing for the same prize. And this competition is creating all these new kinds of global inequality. There's actually a term for it: data colonialism. Think about it like this: the physical plumbing of the internet, the giant cables under the ocean, the massive cloud servers, it's overwhelmingly owned and controlled by corporations in the global north. So data from the global south often has to travel through Europe or North America, creating these new dependencies that look an awful lot like the old colonial ones.
So this creates a really profound digital divide. Countries in the global south end up dependent on this infrastructure. Their people are way underrepresented in the data that's used to train AI, which leads to all kinds of algorithmic bias. And ultimately, they have very little power to shape the rules of this new digital game. They're often just rule takers, not rule makers.
So what does this all mean? Okay, we've seen the environmental damage, the human exploitation, the huge geopolitical power struggles. Now let's bring it all back to the technology itself and back to us.
This relentless drive for more and more powerful AI has another massive environmental cost that we haven't even talked about: e-waste. The graphics processing units, or GPUs, those are the engines of AI. They have a really short lifespan. Companies are often replacing them every 2 to 3 years. And since it's not cheap to recycle them, the old chips, they just get incinerated, creating this huge stream of electronic garbage.
And this brings us to the final and maybe the most crucial point. Every time you ask a chatbot a question, or you refine an AI-generated image, or you correct a translation, you're not just a user. You're generating data. You are providing free labor for that verification task we talked about. In this huge system, you are not a spectator. You are, in a very real sense, active fuel for the engine.
So there you have it. From the single pixel on your screen to the pollution cloud in Mississippi. From the ghost worker in Kenya to this global battle for dominance, that is the real hidden cost of AI. Now that we've had a peek behind the curtain, the real question is, what's our next move?